Welcome to a Sunday moment. Oh my gosh, has it been a week for you guys as much as it's been a week for me? I know that we are coming up on a full moon for those astro heads. We're coming up on a full moon this week, and the energy is moving towards there. But that's good because it just means that we're working towards our manifestations and our fulfillments. It just is a crazy ride getting there. So, welcome and thank you for however you had to show up here today, whatever you've had to go through to get here today. I am just so grateful. Everyone that knows me, I'm sorry, y'all know I gotta get these adjustments. It drives me crazy. Um, Anyone that knows me knows that I value Sundays, and or that follows the moment knows that as a moment we value Sundays. We see it as a family day. We see it as a sacred day, a day of rituals, a day of revitalization, a day of readiness, a day of coming together, cohesiveness. So I am always honored when you all take a moment out of a Sunday and sit down with me for a moment of harmony. So, thank you, thank you, thank you always. Always an honor and a privilege to be a part of your self care routine, to be a part of what you do every week, in checking in with self, growing self, learning self, and just expanding your life and the lives of all that are connected to you. I'm just so grateful to be one of the tools in your tool belt. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And again, welcome. We are in meiotic moments. We are in week number 16 this week. We are moving through the 42 laws of Mayat. We have gone into each one of them, finding practical principle and applications to our lives. Like, yes, we want to be better. Yes, we want to do better. And how can we do that in all aspects, all components? Meaning, not just what we eat, not just how we move our bodies or exercise, not just what we watch or what we wear, but who and how we are. How can we also revamp and revise that component of who we are in order to be holistically well and really reach the goals and aspirations that we're moving towards? Because your character matters. Throughout this entire series, I've been using the analogy or painting the picture of painting a house that's falling apart. And many times when we begin to embark on a journey of betterness or improvement, when we begin to embark on a journey of greatness and just transformation, we always start from the outside in. It's like we begin to change our parents or we begin to change our circles, and we don't always go into the content of our character, who we are, that's drawing in what we have. And with the Moment of Harmony in this Meiotic Moments series, or this portion of our Meiotic Moments, peace and welcome and thank you for being here. We have been taking great care to look into that aspect of who we are and what we have and the correlation between the two of them. So this week, we are in this week, we're week number 16, law number 16 of the 42 laws of Mayat. And this week's today's episode and this week's law is I am not deceitful. I am not deceitful. Hold your chairs, right? I live in America. Peace, beautiful. Peace, Bessie. Peace, all. Thank you so much. I live in America. I was born and raised here. I came up in a society of capitalistic priority, and I am not deceitful. That's what we all walk around as, that's how we all feel about ourselves for the most part. The average person doesn't feel like a deceitful person, which makes today's episode so important. It makes it so important. There is a reason that our ancestors, and as I speak as the ancestors, and I always say, everyone that comes onto the moment, I'm first off, shout out to the chat. Those that are coming onto chats and leaving messages and DMing me, and coming in to just with their questions and their concerns. Blessings to the positive energy, to the growth of the moment, and the growth of the individuals connected to the moment. I'm always grateful. It is always an answered prayer. Now, the other side of that is what I'm learning. Peace, happy Sunday. The other side of what I'm seeing is that, listen, they're coming in. I think last week we had from Morocco, we had from India. Like, the moment is like everywhere. There are all walks of life, all types of individuals tuning into the moment, and the moment was intended for that. It is for the healing and progression of the world and the perspective that we have in it, being able to see it from a more spiritual, more righteous perspective, being able to operate out of the higher realms of self instead of being complacent in the lower existences of self. And we all again live in a world where there is war and capital and bias and death and disease. There's all these things out there that keep us out of the or discourage us from the higher realm of operation. And the moment was meant to bring us all into a space together to have a moment of righteousness, have a moment of light, have a moment of peace that would radiate into every moment of your life and every facet and every aspect of who you are. So the moment is momenting, and it is definitely due to all of you. So thank you all so much. So, and just wanting to give that disclaimer again, your walk of life does not dictate whether or not we can walk together, right? It is that you are intentionally walking in good standing with self, in good intention, in high vibration, and my vibration is going to be high. So if you're walking in that vibration, walk with us. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at it. I'm always going to come from my point of reference, my cultural and historical lessons and understandings of self and history. And so you'll hear my point of reference. And I just encourage all to respect all, and for us all to just continue to go to our highest, most elevated versions of self. At the top, it's all light. And that's where I'm going. That's my focus. And that's what a moment of harmony is all about. Okay. So I am not deceitful. Woo chawu. Okay. There's so many shenanigans going on right now. The changing of laws, the changing of the transformation of standards, of like social standards and ways of being. There are so many components to our reality. And this is why deceit, a lack of transparency, a lack of authenticity becomes so counterproductive to growth and development. Because when things are rapidly changing, when much information is available, when there's a constant bombardment of think like this, feel like this, behave like this, vote like this. When there's just this constant bombardment, eat here, we talk about propaganda of media, right? And listen to this and put your numbers here and tune into this. It is a constant pulling of your attention and pulling on your reality, a constant making of your reality. This is when the ability to discern between a deceitful nature or even an operation of self of deceitful nature, or really being able to hone into what is grounded and real, becomes so important. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? We said that in last week's moment, and you probably heard me say it 1,000 times. It is definitely one of my favorite things to quote. So, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? But it's easy, right? It's so easy to get lost. It's so easy to get confused. It's so easy to be living in a lie that has been painted to you as a reality, developed in you as truth. And so you just don't even, you just have conflict within self, and you're not actualizing things that are true to your heart. And it begins to make you wonder where the truth is. And so we begin to seek, and it makes people go on spiritual journeys of enlightenment and personal journeys and seeking. And this is why we go, we're all all of that to say is at the end of the day, we're all looking for the truth. We're all looking for the truth. This is, I know for myself, I'm an information buff, academic buff, and I'm always looking for the way things are, the way things should be, the way things started out. We all are. I'm just interested in the facts and the information. We all are on a constant search and a constant journey for the truth. As we go through this moment, the only shift I want to make in that is that I applaud you for seeking truth. I applaud you for being on a journey and exploration and taking on such a task in life. But I would like us to go just a step further in a moment of harmony from seeking truth to being truth, right? We're all looking for the truth, but are we all striving to be the truth? And I don't feel like there's a balance in seeking and being. And then we just have these lifelong journeys of being in search instead of these lifelong journeys of being in blossom. And I would love for us to be able to venture into that perspective today in a moment of harmony under the 16th law of my I am not deceitful. Okay, so again, like I started out, when we talk about, I do want to give a birthday. I try to give my birthday shout outs and love to all of my friends and family who have been supporting a super strenuous week, family transitions and family dynamics. Thank you all so much for your love and support. It is always greatly appreciated. Happy birthday to Sabrina. Went to her birthday party, double 20. Happy 40th. Can y'all believe we're almost there? She's there. Some of us are getting close, and goodness gracious. So happy birthday to you. You look beautiful. Don't look a day over 25, sis. But I wanted to make sure I give all of that out to, I think those were my announcements. Just love and light to you all. It's a beautiful time to be beautiful. It's a great time to be great. It's a blessed time to be a blessing. So grateful for all of you. So I am not deceitful. Now, like I was saying, when it comes to these laws, I feel like the average person can get lost in translation, which is why it's one of my favorite series, or under the umbrella of A Moment of Harmony. It's one of my favorite it's again one of my favorite episode series is to work through, because a lot of what was given to us, left behind us for civilization, for operation, for becoming, instructions, lessons, not needing to reinvent the wheel, not needing to be lost, not needing to be confused, all that is unnecessary because instruction was left. But I feel that in time and space and in situation, many of our instruction has been lost in translation. And then there is why you need those that are willing to go in and do the work of the words, do the work of intention, do the work of history and gathering, whether you call them, pastors, ministers, priestess, prophets, what have you, right? Light work. Okay, those that are all designed to do light work, it is to be a conduit, if you will, or a translator between the higher and lower self, or above and below operations, a translator, an amplifier between the spiritual and the physical realm. And it becomes so necessary because once that bridge is built, once that bridge is sturdy, once it is secure, you have a holistic flow in life. You stop becoming stuck. You stop becoming a loss. You stop becoming crippled. You stop becoming disabled. Your process is no longer retarded. You have a flow, and by I mean backwards. You have a flow of operation that was intended for each and every spirit having a human experience, right? You have that. Shout out to Professor Griff on that. You have that. So I am not deceitful. Again, many of us feel like I don't walk around lying. I take great pride in the truth. I take great pride in operating in truth and being the truth. So I think the average, again, person seeking development, seeking growth, living, being very diligent at living their best lives and becoming their best selves, are not in deceit and action, or intentionally deceitful in action, or intentionally deceitful in operation. And I want us to be able to peel back some of that surface layer of like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. How will this work towards my character? How will this work for my life, my improvement, my growth? And I want us to look a little bit deeper into it in not necessarily seeing ourselves as deceitful, but really seeing ourselves as operating in untruths, right? Seeing ourselves as living in, nurturing, condoning, allowing, perpetuating untruths about ourselves, about our environments, about our intentions, about our destinies, about our ambitions, about our dreams, about our goals, about our becomings. And when you go into that realm of it, it's not that you're going out blatantly, right? Being deceitful, it gives a connotation, or it really means a reflection. It is a reflection of a lack of transparency, a lack of authenticity, a lack of genuine motive, right? Deceit. It sounds so harsh and dark and like, that's deceitful. Oh my gosh, it's so slimy, right? It's so low vibration. It's so beneath many of us. Deceitful. That's for thieves, and that's for robbers, and that's for criminals. Or we have all these things that deceitful would be for, slime bags and things like that. But I want us to be able to look that this law did not just come up for the occasional criminal, the occasional predator. When our ancestors developed the 42 laws of Ma'at, it was for the mass of us. It was for all of us that were trying to seek development and cultural groundedness and growth of self. So why would they create a law that applied only to a fraction of individuals if we're talking about the growth and development of spirituality? Right? That's not at all what it is. So we have to go more into, okay, well, what is the intention behind this law? What are the lessons, and where can we gather the tools and information to move forward in this law? So operating in untruths. Many of us, again, who feel like we are not deceitful, but there are those of us who are in marriages we are not happy in. We are telling people we are happy and we aren't. But those of us are in professions, or we're in careers, or we've taken stances that we are not comfortable with. We fail to speak up on things that we believe to be right or true, right? Things that we believe to be more appropriate or exact or more in alignment with reality, with what is. And we fail to speak up, whether we don't want to hurt other people's feelings, we don't want to come off as pushy, we don't want to be guilty, we don't want to be aggressive, we don't want to be disliked, whatever reason it is that we choose not to like speak up on what is, on what we know is truth, is fact. And many of us deny what is. We allow the manipulation or the degradation of what is. We hide and are fearful of what is. So we operate in untruths. We find smaller truths that we can live with instead of doing away with larger untruths that are hard for us to live with, right? So in doing that, we again operate in untruths and spread that around to our children and our friends and our families, and then people that love us operate in untruths with us, either because they believe what we are painting or projecting, or because again they love us and they don't feel like we're ready for a truth. However the paper unfolds, we're operating in untruths on a regular basis. I am content with things as the way they are, or no, I'm okay and I don't need anything, or I don't need any help, or I did the best I could. And there are things we know deep down inside are not, you didn't. You didn't do the best you could. I mean, you're accepting that or you're expressing that. The people around you don't mean well for you. They aren't qualified and up to standard for your growth and your development. But you're not standing in a courageous place within that. You're not standing in a constant place for that. And so you begin to operate in an untruth. And so for those of us that feel like I'm not at all deceitful, just pause and like, but do I paint pictures? Do I project a reality of my words, my actions, my intentions, those of survival, those of those of complacency, those of keeping the peace and going with the flow? Am I doing things that have me operate in an untruth of where I want to be in this life, who I want to be in this life, who I want to be around and connected to in this life, where I want to go in this life, what I want to be doing right now? Am I believing negative things about myself? Do I project those things onto others? Do I, walk one walk, talk another talk? Am I conflicted? Because confliction, there has to be a level of deceit in confliction, because you cannot not be certain or not be grounded or not be good with where things are, or complete with where things are, and be projecting that everything is good, right? Or be moving in a certain direction uncertainly. Because there has to be there has to be something that you're telling yourself or something that you're telling others when contradictions arise, when conflict presents itself, when out in public, out on social media, out on what you feel and think and behave one way, and then in the night there's another conversation with self. There's another set of feelings with self. There's another thought system with self. And in order to be able to live in such a conflict, in order to be able to live in such contradiction, there has to be a level of deceit, whether it is with you, to you, or with you towards others, or both. So our ancestors are saying, in growing your character and in growing and developing into your highest level of operation, remember, that's the point. Supreme leveling up is the whole reason we're here in the physical realm, nurturing and nourishing our spirits as they're being conditioned. Shout out to KC. As they're being conditioned. What she say? Soul school. She calls the spiritual realm soul school. We're here to graduate into the highest level of being. And if you have things, again, I don't really want to be here, or I don't really trust myself with this person, but I'm going to say forever with them. I don't really like, this that I'm doing. This isn't my calling. This doesn't feed my spirit. This is not what I wake up in the morning. And literally when I wake up in the morning, I have to shush things down. When things say, you don't feel this way, you don't like this, you're not comfortable with this, you don't like this life, this isn't you, and you go like, shh, 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 come on, no, this is who we're becoming. Get with the program, self. Get with the program, heart. Get with the program, mind. There has to be a level of deceit, of self-deception, of projection with others that has to be in operation in order for us to operate regularly and routinely in untruths. I feel a way, I don't feel a way. Same thing with operating in conflict. I think a way, I don't think a way. My mind says something, my heart says something. Conflict means deception is somewhere. There's a truth you've moved away from. There is a truth you've been distracted or deterred from. There's a truth that's been taken from you by manipulation or what have you, but you can't align with self. I guarantee that the lack of alignment is a deceit blockage. So then, okay, we operate in untruths. Why? Why do many of us feel comfortable operating in untruths? Why do we become complacent in operating in those types of untruths? Why have it become such a norm outside of the society that we live in? Outside of a society that we've been groomed in, that literally is one of manipulation, smoke and mirrors, deceit, lies. It is just rapid or rampant with deception in order to get you to do whatever, buy these things, be this person, align with this plan or this ideal, you know, what is it? Marry this social construct. You know what I'm saying? So we are in a society of constant smoke and mirrors. Okay, so when we look at society, there's no question why we think deceit is the way of the land or the way of being. It's okay as long as you're not killing anybody. Our ancestors are saying no. The law does not say I am not deceitful except for to protect myself, or I am not deceitful except for to guard myself from others. I am not deceitful except for if someone can't handle my truth. It says I am not deceitful. And remember, with these laws, when they are broken down as like affirmations or ammunitions, or the way they were intended to be digested by us, or operated in by us, was that they are a proclamation, a proclamation and declaration. So we're starting out at the beginning of the day saying, I will not be deceitful, which means, I always reiterate, this is a task. This is going to be a temptation. I live in a land of lies. I live in a land of where lies are rewarded, where there are predators, where I need to be protected, where I need to be guarded. This is going to be a big task. This is going to be a big task for me to get genuinely through the day as my true, pure self. So I will not be deceitful. And a victorious day is getting to the end of the day, get ready to climb in your bed and being able to say out to the spirit realm, I have not been deceitful. There may have been temptation. People may have made me afraid of my truth. They may have made me ashamed of my truth. They may have made me worry in some way. They may have made me want to dilute my truth or sugarcoat my truth. People haven't even been honest with me, and so I didn't want to be honest with them. There were so many things that got into the middle of this day, but I worked hard at it. And as I'm laying myself, now I lay me down to sleep, I am going to be able to say I have not operated in deceit. Bars. I have not been deceitful. Our ancestor says this is the goal. Working in these goals, working in these ambitions, working in these laws, bringing them to fruition is what grows us. It's what brings us into fruition. It's what develops us. This developing in the development, right? As you begin to move through and create and establish, you will be created. You will be established, right? You will have motion and flow. So why is it that we have a hard time outside of the land of lies that we are all born and bred in, raised in, a land that is all about capital and war and power and gain, by any means necessary? That means morality, peace, people, it's saying that why, again, do we feel comfortable operating in untruths? Why do we marry them? Why do we stay with them? Why do we feel anchored to them? And I want us to look at our history and our harm. Many people that operate in untruths, that live in places that don't fit them, that dwell in spaces that aren't for them any longer, that no longer serve them, that pretend to be something in order to have something, have a great deal of harm in their history, a great deal of harm in their history around deceit, around dishonesty, around actualization, right? Around truth. And we know that collectively, culturally, those of African descent, we have great harm in our history. So, an example of that would be us not being able to tell people we could read when we could read, because you could get hung or murdered, penalized for being able to read. Us not being able to tell people sometimes that we were pregnant out of fear of having a baby being sold. Those of us that had to pass when passing became a thing, that your skin was so light that you went through your whole life as a whole nother ethnicity in order to survive. And what I'm saying is there's so much harm in our history around truth. We were not allowed to speak our language. It could mean murder. It could mean murder. It could mean death. To be able to speak an African language after a certain part during enslavement, it could mean death. There's so much harm in our history. Pretending not to know each other sometimes, pretending not to be connected, husbands or wives or best friends or siblings, pretending not to be connected in fear of being intentionally separated as a punishment or as some type of incentive or fear. Like deceit is deeply ingrained in the harm of our history. And so let's bring it a little bit closer to where we are. Now let's look at those of us in homes and families as children. There's harm in the history. Some may have had domestic violence. They may have seen their mother or their father being abused physically by either parent. Deceit, but then go out into public and act like everything is okay. Being sexually violated by a family member and going and being told to don't speak of it. Being told to not act on it. Being told to be normal or regular around this person. Going into society and school, not letting people know you don't have enough money when you're living in poverty. Why don't you have your school uniform on? It may be they don't have a washing machine, and it isn't clean, or their mom couldn't afford it. But trauma buries truth, is what I'm getting at. Trauma buries truth. And when there's so much harm in your history around deceit becomes a protective way of operating. You don't feel as good as you project. You're nowhere near as confident or secure as you express to individuals. You don't really love yourself. No one really loved you, but you went out and you found things that helped you look apart. You found people that helped you feel apart, connected to them. You were able to obtain materials, credentials, titles that made you more look apart, made you seem more qualified for a part that you don't have, because you don't have peace. You don't have sense of self. You don't have love of self. You don't have connection to earth, land, water, and human. You don't have it. Nature. You don't have a sense of security and safety. You don't feel great. You don't feel that greatness is within you. No one pointed it out to you. No one reaffirmed it over and over and over and over and over as many times as it was the opposite was reflected to you in your growth and development. And so you go and find these things because trauma buries the truth. And you go and find these things that pull you, at least in appearances, at least in status, away from a truth. Because until the truth is transformed, you only have this one truth, that you aren't good enough. You aren't lovable. Life is chaotic. Life is, you know, is what just life's a you know what and then you die type of thing. This pessimistic view on things because of what it is. It's been your truth, but it hasn't been the truth because you haven't been able to be put in the environments and the places that show you a full truth. Remember, we talked about the bridge between higher and lower self that creates a flow that doesn't have you stuck in one realm of operation, so you don't see a holistic view of being, which is a true, which is a big picture, which is a whole picture. So we have these harms in our history. The truth is buried in trauma. We have these harms in our history that make deception a protection tool, that make deception a tool for gain. It puts us in this place of positivity that it really doesn't belong in, because it's temporary, because it's artificial, and it's not really going to serve well. Because you put those women that get silicone, right? Women that get silicones, and when I was growing up, it was like big silicone situation for women with their confidence. Now it's BBLs, so the silicone goes somewhere else. But it doesn't change. So you can put things in there, make it look different, make it seem different. Okay, you just a biscuit and gravy girl. But you don't have any of the inner workings of a biscuit and gravy girl, right? You go to nurse a baby with the silicone. Sometimes it can be cause interference. There are ways it can, not always, but it can cause an interference. The function of who you are is not enhanced because of the external enhancements that you put on yourself. It is artificial. It is temporary, right? Can be taken, can be taken out, can be damaged, can be all types of things. And therefore you get into this place of like thinking that you've made an improvement that is going to get you where you want to go, but it's not an actual. This is how deceit works. It's not an actual improvement. It's not a true and genuine improvement. I am Mommy Mercy. She has to, I'm streaming live and she has to stop that. So, sorry about that. So, I just wanted, Mommy Mercy, y'all. Sorry about that. They going all types of crazy. They're coming in here asking me for support when there's the big ones are supposed to be handling that out there. Mommy Mercy. Okay. So deceit comes in and tries to act for us as a protective measure. Deceit comes in and act as a tool of gain, when it is really, again, it's deceit. So it is really a smoke and mirror. So it is really not genuinely that. Okay. How do we get around that? When our ancestors say, I am not deceitful. How do I get out of operating in untruths? How do I get out of using deceit as a mode of protection? How do I get out of using deceit as a mode of, as a tool for gain? We have to create honest environments. We must create honest environments. If you are forced to be in a space, you have a partner that doesn't understand you, that doesn't see you clearly, that doesn't value you, that makes you feel away, and you can't be true and genuine. You can't be honest and open. You can't be vulnerable and real. So you operate in untruths, so you operate in omissions, you operate in silences. You have arrested yourself to a deceitful life. It is atrocious. What an atrocity to be a beautiful specimen of a person arrested to deception. What a waste of great and beautiful brilliance to be a wonderful individual trapped inside of yourself because you cannot be received by what is around you appropriately. We have to create honest environments. Instead of hiding my truth, instead of sheltering my reality from you, which causes me to operate in deceit, I am going to remove you from my environment. I'm going to create a space where I am seen as I am. I am valued and honored as I am. And I have no problem fully and freely expressing myself. Create honest environments. That's in relationships. That's with your brothers, sisters, community. That's at work. People go to work and become a whole nother person. Their family calls them on the phone. Who is this person at work? What are you talking about? They're at work and they're fearful. Or they're at work and they don't stand up for what's right, or they're quiet. When at home, they're a pillar of we do what's right and we stand up for ourselves and no bullying. But we go to work and we all accept it. You're in a dishonest environment that is causing you to operate in an untruth that you are content, and an untruth that you are weak, and an untruth that you are not valuable, and an untruth that you are not worthy of respect, of boundaries. And I just urge us, as we continue to move forward in life, as we delve and move and roam in and out of this law, I encourage us and challenge us that when you're feeling stuck, you feel like you can't breathe, you can't move on, you can't be, I guarantee you're stuck in a blockage of deception. There's something you're not saying. There's something you're not doing. There's something you're not observing appropriately. Because you are stuck in a place. Deceit is a low vibration. You're stuck in a low vibration that's stopping you from that flow we talked about between the physical and the spiritual. So I'm stuck because I haven't spoken a truth. I'm suffocating because I haven't acted in a desire. I'm being tortured, high anxiety, frustrated. I can't focus because I haven't acknowledged or shown light on and illuminated a necessity for myself. I've become content in boxes and truths and definitions of others. And it has caused me to be in this low vibration of deception. So I need to create honest environments. I need to work where my creativity can flow because I feel that in my spirit. I need to work where I can be myself, and then that changes for everyone on all levels. I need to have a relationship with this type of person. I need to have a home and my children see and be things a certain way. An honest environment. Not children should be seen and not heard. Not you don't pay no bills, you don't have no voice. And of course, I'm not saying they walk all over you, are disrespectful and, none of that. None of that. What I'm saying is you don't, when an environment of dishonesty is put in place, is planted, grown, intended to in that way, you have nowhere but for deceit for others. I mean, being judgmental, being argumentative, being aggressive, being controlling. I promise you, if you are a super controlling individual, you have an environment of people who have to operate in deceit. If you are hard and iron-fisted individual, and you relish in people living in fear or living in your way or no way, and you have pockets, you have people operating in untruths around you, I promise you. And deceit will just continue to fester. And a small untruth will come big untruths that you can't deny. Because either they are afraid to be honest about facing you, or you are afraid about facing you. Honestly. You have to create honor when it comes to the harm and the history, the harm in our history around deception. We have to be so much more clear and concise and intentional as we're growing to be able to have this proclamation and declaration of this law. We have to be more and more intentional about creating honest environments. And that means I don't even go places that I shouldn't be, that are going to cause me to behave a certain way that I don't genuinely feel. I don't even hang around people anymore. I'm talking about growth and development. I don't even hang around people anymore that I don't feel genuine connection, that I can't be vulnerable and honest. No love lost. We just can't kick it. I don't feel genuinely that I can be open. That means I'll be forced to, in parts, operate in an untruth. And deceit will then live in me. Or deceit will be a part of whatever process I'm in. And deceit is a blockage. And then because I was not truthful with you, I wasn't honest about the circumstance, the situation. Now I'm only way to deal with that is to be dishonest with myself, because otherwise I'll create conflict. So it's be the way to sleep at night. It'll be the way to operate. And we can't do it. Our ancestors said, I am not deceitful. I am not a deceitful being. I am not a being of dishonesty or treachery or manipulation and exploit. I am not that. So I cannot be in an environment where I can be truth, where I light, where I can be purity, but the environment is one that does not honor, respect, illuminate, or receive that. Something is going to have to give. This environment is going to have to change and adapt to me, or I'm going to have to change and adapt to it. And when we're talking about massive environments, we know which way that normally goes. Or this environment is going to have to be over there. It's going to have to operate in its lane, and I'm going to have to operate in mine, because I owe it to myself to not have deceit in my life, in my circle, and create honest environments that I can be honestly, truly, purely me. Someone quick to say, oh, no, you're a liar, or you're a phony. And you say, no, I'm not a liar. I can't be honest with you. I can't be genuine in this space. You don't receive or respect or honor. Change your space. Be in spaces where your honesty is appreciated, where your truth is seen and honored, it's valued. I promise you, you'll revel more in the genuineness of self when you do not continue to compromise self in such spaces. Because now I either have to adapt to you, or you have to adapt to me. And those of us that are empaths and, non-confrontational and all these other types of things, we know what ends up happening. We end up swallowing our truth. Shout out to Unbroken Reading Circle. My girls, as we're still in Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith. And what's the chapter we were last on? Swallowing the Key. She talks about swallowing a key and living in a prison for the sake of others. Swallowing a key to your exit, swallowing a key to your freedom, swallowing a key to your release, swallowing the key to your desires, but getting rid of it so that you are where others need you to be, how others need you to be, the way others need you to be. Deceit. Okay? So when there's harm in our history around deceit, when there's harm in your personal history, you've told someone something and they've used it against you, you've been judged, you've been looked over, you've been dismissed. Oh my gosh. You've been dismissed. You've been mistreated. There's harm in your history around your transparency, around your vulnerability. You want to create more honest environments. You don't want to hide your truth more. You want to get an environment that allows you to be more of your truth. Okay? Now, when I say that, we say, I can't be in these places like I just spoke of. We can't be in these places. We can't be in these environments. We can't be in these circumstances where someone has to adapt to, either we're on two different pages where a way would have to adopt to our way of being our truth, or we have to adopt to that. They can't align. They can't be cohesive. They can't cooperate. The reason why that happens is because as long as you keep on shutting it down, you keep on burying the truth under your trauma, you keep on not being, you then send out a boomerang of behavior. Life is a boomerang of behavior. You then send out a boomerang of behavior. So you send out a message to the universe that says, I don't value the truth because I'm not operating in it and I'm not using it. You send out a message that says, I don't value and I don't need things to be really the way I want them to be because I don't operate in my desires. I don't honor my desires. I don't put boundaries around them. I don't protect them. I don't express them. So I send out this message that says I don't need them and they don't mean anything to me. But in reality, we're really shutting these things down because of what other people mean to us, of what other things mean to us, our paycheck, our, friend circle, our inclusion, our involvement, right? Our, promotion. There's so many reasons why we shut these things down, and it's not because we don't care about them. And it's not because they don't mean anything to us or that we don't want them. It is because we don't want other people to not want us, or other people to not care about us, or other people to not see us a certain way. But that's a lot to translate from this bridge of physical and spiritual. What do you think? The universe, went to college? You think it's just going to sit there and decode? It has a translator? It is very simple. Because truth is simple. Because love is simple. Because life is simple. And disorder makes things unsimple, difficult. So it's actually simple. Disorder disorients and makes things difficult. And now you're sending out these cryptic messages. And the universe is going to say, look, your behavior says, think about it. Think about when we speak to someone who speaks another language, has a heavy accent, and we don't know everything they're saying, right? What do we then rely on to try to get what they're saying to us across? Their body language, their action. So you may have someone say, oh, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. But he's pointing to this ring, so it must be something about jewelry. Are you asking about the price of jewelry? Are you asking how much this is? Those that have been over to the islands and things like that, they will be saying, okay. My ring, yes, no, I don't want a ring. We're looking other than the words, because the words have become unclear. That's what happens in confusion and dysfunction. Your words then become unclear, counterproductive, and in conflict with your actions. So the universe don't even know everything you're saying because you aren't simple in an affirmation of I am, I want, I need. You speak in all these circles. Well, maybe if, when I get, you're speaking in circles around the universe. So it is now going into your actions. What does she mean by, maybe she wants a husband, maybe she doesn't, she wants to be married, he kind of sort of wants to go back to school, he's thinking about it. The universe is like, what are we doing? Let's look at these actions. I don't know what I'm doing right now. What does he want? What are we aligning? And then it looks at your actions, and your actions say, I don't value. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. My voice is not important. Have mercy. My desires are not greater than anyone, or they're greater than others, or they're less important than others. I don't put boundaries and stipulations and protections. So it's not important. And the universe says, oh, okay. Well, no. She doesn't really want a marriage. Like, it's not really, she doesn't really want that because I saw her would jump off. or he doesn't really want, the financial abundance because, he just went and bought that chain with that little bit of money he had. Took the little rest of his savings and bought that chain. So it's not the financial abundance I'm looking. Life is a boomerang of behavior. When you operate in places of deception, you draw in more deceptive operations. Hey, DJ, run that back. When you operate in places of deception, you draw in more deceptive operations. So this boomerang of behavior, it's not only about like, do I want to be perceived as being deceitful? Do I don't want to anymore be like that? Am I tired of getting what I don't want? Am I tired of getting what I don't deserve? But it's even more so is I can't keep drawing that. People who aren't who they say they are. I can't keep drawing that. Jobs that don't pay what they say they pay. The job description that you read is not the job that you're working in. Okay, I cannot keep drawing that. This life is a boomerang of behavior. And so if I operate in the smallest deceit, oh, this is what I really look like. This is how I really act. This is what I really, I'm looking for love, but I'm with, my Iya is in a, come say hi with your cute self. Say hi. Hi. That's my twin. We twinning them. Go best friend. That's my grand girl. Okay, you gonna let Iya speak in peace? Peace. Yeah. Thank you. Mommy Mercy, y'all. That's Grandma Mercy. Okay, Iya Mercy. So, you get into these spaces when we say life is a boomerang of behavior. We're saying that we're going to have to get into the places where we can't. I can't say, what is it? I was using an example. Oh, I really want to be married, or I really want something strong and solid and committed, but I'm willing to tell this person or let this person convince me, like, I just want something light and casual. It's small, right? But it's not, right? It's a deceptive operation that you're in, and it's going to draw in operations of deceit. More lies, or I'm not really looking for yeah, it's working. Okay, I'm working. Yes, working, booba. Somebody needs to come and get Dream, please. I'm live. Mommy Mercy. I'm not really looking for something long term. I just need something right now. Your deep desire is a career. Your deep desire is abundance. Your deep desire is security and stability. But because of whatever you're not believing in right now, whatever's not strong for you right now, you're saying, I'll take just anything. Deceit. It's not what you want. It's not what you deserve. That's not what you need. And it becomes this, well, how come I'm getting these half situations? How come I'm getting into these depleting situations, these unstable, inconsistent, dishonest? Because we're going into the world. This is how I feel. This is how I look. This is how I am. This is what I believe. This is what I do. And it's not the truth. It's not real. It's what you're projecting for what you want to gain, or what you think you could get, or you're no more than the destructive land of lies you've been born and raised in. But our ancestors put forth these laws to let us know we are more than the land. We are more than even man's law. We are bigger and greater than the construct that have been built with hands, because we have been built in love. Built in love. Or I'll say this: we're bigger than what's been built, because we've been created. Since when does a creation bow before a structure? When does a creation bow before something that's been built or made? B says that in Ego. She says, some people like to think they were made. I like to think I was created. They're different. It's different. But we'll bow down to the way of now instead of our way. And GA too. Shout out to PLM. We'll bow down. We'll shrink, and we'll live in untruths. And then we wonder why we can't have what we really want. That's a truth. What we deeply desire, that's a truth. What we secretly wish for, that's a truth. How come we operate so readily and what's not? And it's because we haven't found the courage to create and operate out of what is. I am not deceitful. I cannot take this position because I am not deceitful. I cannot take this ring because I am not deceitful. I will not go with you to this place. I am not deceitful. I cannot, with your child. No, I cannot take part in that. I cannot get you that. I cannot do that for you because I am not deceitful. I cannot take on this, those that have, crippling or massive diagnosis and ailments or diseases. You cannot take on that persona because you are not deceitful. You cannot keep quiet. You will not just do as told without going into a source of connection conversation. I am not deceitful. Thank you all for joining me for another moment of harmony. I cannot wait to see you next week for another moment. I look forward to being able to continue to grow, build, exchange with you in love and light. And I am always, like I said, super duper grateful for you. Go ahead. That is a lot of dream. You got to pause. No one is helping me out here. I hope when they watch this later, they'll see how much they did not help me out here. Go ahead and take really good care of yourself. Take such good, listen, I got to pause on that one. Take really good care of yourself. Life is lifing all the way through, up and down, sideways, backwards. Take some good care of yourself. Hold on, Sugar Plum. Take good care of yourself. And then go on out your way, like I'm about to do with this little one, and take really good care of someone else. I love you all so much. I'll see you next week for another Moment of Harmony.